Hey guys, Life in China with Patrick. What do I want to talk about today? I want to talk about my irritation with the Satan spawn, Lindsey Graham. I know I've been picking on Gordon Chang a lot lately, but I think I found somebody that may fit in that same category as Gordon Chang as far as being a hater of another country. Lindsey Graham. I watched a video yesterday and I was dumbfounded at what I saw. I'm going to show it to you real quick.
Free or die.
Free or die.
Now you are free,
Yes.
and we will be.
And the Russians are dying.
It's the best money we've ever spent. It's the best money we've ever spent. It's the best money we've ever spent.
Now, is it just me? I mean, am I overreacting to this video? Did you just not see? I mean, there was like a very dark level of pleasure that I could see in Lindsey Graham in celebrating the deaths of Russian soldiers. And it was like a love fest. I don't know if you've ever seen the movie Passengers. It's got Chris Pratt and I forget his co-star, beautiful co-star. But there's this scene where they kind of fall in love with each other, and they're in the cafeteria in this spaceship, and they're on the ship by themselves. And they just look at each other's eyes, and Chris Pratt says, "You kill me," or something like that, some stupid cheesy line. All of a sudden they start making out, and you know they're gonna make love on the table in the cafeteria with all the cereal everywhere. And that's what, I'll show you the video. Tell me what you think.
You kill me.
Didn't that remind you of that scene between Zelensky and Senator Graham? The best money that we've ever spent in killing Russians. I want to put Lindsey Graham in front of the Russian mothers and fathers and family members who have lost their children to a totally preventable war that was caused by the United States, a proxy war through Ukraine. If you don't know the history, go back to 2014, look it up on Google, type in Minsk agreements, and that should answer a lot of your questions at how this thing could have been prevented. And you've got a senator meeting with Zelensky celebrating the deaths of Russians. A preventable war. Let's talk about the deaths of the Ukrainian soldiers. Now, according to retired Colonel Douglas McGregor, there's anywhere between 253 and 300,000 deaths of Ukrainian soldiers. If you include the injuries, the soldiers that won't be able to return to war, you're looking at probably 400,000. If you include the deaths of the Russian soldiers and the injuries of the Russian soldiers, you're looking at 500,000 plus. If you're looking at the lives displaced as a result of that war, you're looking at 1 million plus. There's been, I want to say 4 or 5 million, if not more. I think it's more than that. I think it's up around 10 million. I'll get the right number and I'll put it on the screen. But of people who've been displaced, who've had to leave Ukraine and probably will never come back because of a preventable war. But you've got people like Senator Lindsey Graham, Satan spawn, celebrating, finding pleasure out of the deaths of individuals. If I were president, this is what I would do. First day in office, I would enact a law that would make a law where if you supported war, if you encouraged war, if you wanted to go to war in whatever way, you as a politician, as a senator, as a representative, as a leader, you would be required to go to the front lines for 1 year. And you would not have any opportunity to be promoted to a lieutenant, a captain, or a colonel. You would serve as a private in the trenches on the front line. And if you survived, then you could come back and share with us your thoughts on continuing the war. My guess is, if we implemented a law like that in the United States, we would never, ever, ever go to war. There would be a pursuing of peace like we couldn't even understand. And that's what we need. We need a law like that in place to keep these Satan-spawned politicians from allowing the deaths of so many people. Why he's still in office, why CNN, Fox News hasn't said anything about it is beyond me. Yeah, Russian news has caught on to it and they've condemned it. I'm sure some of my American friends would say, oh, you know, he's one of those extreme guys, just blow him off. I'm sorry. If you've got one extreme guy like that, within, you know, it's like a little bit of yeast infects the whole batch. And we don't have that problem. It's not just one. It's the majority of politicians in Washington are corrupt. And they're supporting a war that doesn't need to be supported and a war that needs to be shut down. But Lindsey Graham going out to Ukraine to show his true colors, not that we didn't already know his true colors before he left. Here's a guy who claims to be a Christian. If you go to Wikipedia and look up his history, and he's probably the one that filled it out, he claims to be a member of the Southern Baptist Church. I'm sorry, if I were in a Southern Baptist church, or any church for that matter, and I heard somebody talking like this, I would condemn him. I would stand up in front of him and I'd tell him to shut his mouth. And he needs to, I probably sound like a Christian preacher here, but he needs to repent and he needs to get back on the right track, because that's not what we are taught as Christians, to hate, to find pleasure in the deaths of others. America, you need to do something about your gone wild politicians. You need to do something. You need to get off your butt, your duffs, and start speaking up. Social platform is a good place to start, but you know what really is a good place to start is getting in your cars, not just a million. I've said this before, and I really want to encourage people to do this. Millions. There needs to be tens of millions of people going to Washington saying, enough is enough. Enough of this war in Ukraine. Enough of this rhetoric between you and China. We can't afford to go to another war or support another war. We need to stop it. We got to take care of our infrastructure here in America. We got to build up our borders again and keep this mass of individuals coming in illegally to the United States. We've got to get inflation in control. There's so many problems at home that we need to take care of, but the American public is like, okay, I really don't want to go to war, but yeah, okay, if you say it's the thing that we need to do, then I'll support it. No, stop it. Get mad, get angry, and say no more to your politicians. Go to Washington in the millions, email your representatives, and then start sanctioning them. Start sanctioning your politicians. I don't care what side of the fence they sit on or what side of the fence you sit on. Cut off their pocketbook. Don't support them anymore. And then you start doing research on the companies that support them, that make donations to them. There's plenty of websites out there that allow you to do that. Find out who's supporting them and then say, okay, Walmart, no more. You know, like Target with this whole clothing that they're providing. You shut them down. You shut them down. Shut all the companies that are supporting those politicians. And then go to Washington. Maybe that will get their attention. Maybe that phase of the process will get them to listen to the American people and respond. Okay, I feel better. It's therapeutic for me to get out and do this kind of stuff, because it frustrates me to no end to see such criminal, evil behavior from people from my country, from representatives from my country. It makes me ashamed to be an American. I'm ashamed because of your complacency and because of the stuff that's going on in Washington and the problems that they're causing worldwide. I'm just ashamed. Pursue peace, people. The alternative sucks.